Hi guys, today I'm making some beef jerky. I'm making homemade beef jerky. I'm gonna make two different versions. I'm going on a trip to Chicago on Wednesday and I wanted to be able to bring something that's easy to snack on, easy to take on the plane. So I'm just finishing up with tenderizing my meat. So I started out with a 2-pound London broil. I really like London broil for beef jerky. You can also use any lean cut of meat. Flank steak is good. Eye of round is good. Sirloin's good. Brisket is good. So you really want to have a nice lean cut. I'm going to be making this beef jerky in the dehydrator. And even if you're not making it in the dehydrator, you could make it in the oven. But fat will not render out at the low temperature that we're using for the dehydrator. So what I do is I cut my London broil. I cut it about 1/4 of an inch thick. And then I use the hashy end of a meat tenderizer to just kind of break up some of the meat. I like to tenderize it out because I want, especially because I am dehydrating it, I want it to be approximately the same thickness. Hold on, I have to let my dog out. Okay, so I have it all laid out. I'm gonna have all these pieces. And when you think about how much it costs to buy beef jerky when you go to the grocery store, I mean, this is 2 pounds of meat. This is like $100 worth of purchased beef jerky. So now I'm gonna put together a super simple marinade, and then we're gonna let it sit in the fridge overnight. So I'm gonna mix together my marinade. This marinade is really easy, super basic ingredients and no sweeteners. I want this marinade to be kind of similar to, how you'd season a steak before you grill it. So I'm gonna use 1/2 cup of soy sauce. I'm gonna use 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. I'm gonna use onion powder, garlic powder, and a little bit of seasoned salt. And I like to use this Hawaiian seasoning salt. So it has a little bit of red pepper and some other flavors in it, but it adds just a really good flavor. Another thing I like to use is smoked salt. So you can also use smoked salt instead in this recipe. Do you know what? I just added, this is the liquid smoke. So we're adding a tablespoon or a teaspoon of liquid smoke. I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. And then I'm gonna add a generous amount of black pepper. I really like a peppery beef jerky. So you can also add some crushed red pepper if you want it a little spicy. And you can also add some black pepper as it's dehydrating, so it kind of stays up on the top. So I'm gonna use for this, a lot of times I just use a Ziploc bag to do my marinade, and I used my last Zip-Top bag today. So I'm just gonna use a really shallow baking dish. And so I'm just gonna put all my meat in here, and then we're gonna just dump the marinade on top. If I can find my tongs. So, all right. So here are my tongs. So I whisked the marinade up a little bit, and then now I'm just gonna add the beef jerky to this. Or it's not even jerky yet, just my sliced beef. Now I remember my mom makes beef jerky every Christmas, and we kind of like hoard it. Like it's kind of like the treasure of Christmas. Like everybody gets a huge batch. I don't even know how many days she spends making all the different marinades. And, we all have our favorites. Some of us like it spicy, some of us like it sweet. And so you can totally take this really basic version and you can zhuzh it up. You can add whatever other spices you want. I'm going to talk a little bit about my Hawaiian version because, honestly, this version is great. It's just has a lot of flavor, basic, salty, spicy, peppery. It's like the perfect balance of just your traditional beef jerky. And my Hawaiian version, I have it sitting over here in the bag. Both of these are getting ready to go into the fridge for this today. My Hawaiian version, I add a lot of similar recipes. I swap out I swap out the Worcestershire sauce for fish sauce to give it just a little bit of Asian umami, and I really like that flavor in here. I also used a Mesquite liquid smoke, so there's a ton of, I guess there's not a ton, there's different varieties of liquid smoke you can buy. So there's Mesquite and Hickory, and I've tried all of these different ones during, you know, when I'm experimenting with stuff, but I really like the Mesquite and the Hawaiian version. And in my Hawaiian version, I add a little bit of pineapple juice and a little bit of beer. And one of the things with the pineapple juice, it has an enzyme in it that actually really helps tenderize the meat. It adds a little bit of sweetness. I don't use a ton. I only use 1/3 cup of pineapple juice. So it's not overwhelmingly sweet, but you will get just a hint of sweetness. And then I also add a little bit of lager or Pilsner beer. And I, of course, because it's Hawaiian, I like to stick with my Maui Brewing Company. I'm using the Bikini Blonde Lager in this batch. So for timing on this, what I like to do is I set up my marinade sort of in the morning. I'm gonna let this marinade all day. I'm gonna put it in the fridge, cover it, and then I'm gonna fire up my dehydrator before I go to bed so that this can dehydrate overnight. You're gonna dehydrate it about 140 degrees and let it cook overnight. This is probably gonna be about 2 batches for my dehydrator, so it's gonna take me about 2 days to make this. So I hope you check back. I hope you give this a try. I know dehydrators are like totally old school, totally like retro 90s, but I feel like they have such a good place for making just something like this that you can make at home for such a way cheaper price than you could buy it in the store. Every time I buy beef jerky to travel, and I'm like, really, I have 2 ounces of beef jerky for $10. So this is way better. You get way more for your money and tons of flavor. So I hope you enjoy this recipe, and check back tomorrow or check back in the next couple days to see the final product. Talk to you guys soon.